Morning, Ravi. Thanks for having you. Just for the benefit of the audience, before we begin, I just want to give you an opportunity to explain perhaps a little bit more about Guardant Health and your role in the overall context of IT optimization and innovation. That'll be definitely helpful.
Yeah, thanks for hosting me, guys. This is really nice. I'll probably explain a little bit of my role and then I go into what our company does, so to set the context. My role here, I've been with Guardant about 4 years now. When I joined, we were about 700 employees strong, and now we are over 2,000. In the last 4 years, we grew exponentially. I'm tagged with supporting, various business functions like sales, marketing, reimbursement, operations, finance, supply chain, manufacturing, a whole gamut of things. And then mainly focused on process optimization, automations, and data. In terms of, I'm part of the CIO leadership team. And I've been focused on business applications. That's how we do it. We use a list of cloud platforms to accomplish various things internally. When coming back to what our company does, so we offer a cancer diagnostic blood test for various stages of cancer. So basically, we operate a diagnostic lab. We have a very proprietary blood test that we offer that for detecting late-stage cancer and also pair it with the right therapeutic treatment that allows us to treat the type of cancer and the stage of the cancer and the various characteristics we detect in our test. So we pair them with the right therapy. So we look at our business as a therapy selection, as well as recurrence monitoring and early stage screening. So we have basically this covers us entire the cancer continuum. So if somebody has a late stage cancer, we try to find the most optimal treatment for them. And if somebody is fortunate enough to beat cancer, we help them to manage that recurrence of the disease so we can catch it early. And then we're in the process of obtaining FDA approval for early stage cancer detection now. So basically we focused on the colorectal cancer detection. So all of these are done with the basic blood test. So we send blood collection kits to various locations, and once the blood is drawn, it comes to our lab both in Redwood City and Palo Alto today. And we process and we deliver the reports, digital reports back to the treating physicians and oncologists. And so that's kind of what we do. We operate about over 200,000 tests per year, right? I think this year we're somewhere around that. And then so far we have treated over 500,000 patients, or ran tests over 500,000 patients. So that's kind of a little bit of the context. So what I do and what our company does.
That's great, Ravi. It's very, very impressive. And also congratulations on the significant growth. At the same time, I'm sure in the last couple of years, the overall economic environment had a significant effect on the overall IT spend. Would like to know specifically in your industry after COVID, what are the growth that you guys had, and then the cutting of the costs and all of that. What's the specific impact it had on your industry? And in the context of the today's session, how it has impacted the overall innovation, if at all?
I think it's a very, very time relevant question. So we shifted. I think I'll comment about the life sciences industry, which we are part of. So a lot of money that was available freely has disappeared very quickly for us. So the whole focus turned into for us on profitability. So we want to make sure that we are managing our business and we have a path to profitability. That became a very big focus item, both for our industry, our investors, as well as internal leadership team. So we started looking at how do we get back into that mode of operation? So if you think about it, we were in this coming up with products that addresses our market need, and we were going at all directions. So we had to really focus on our profit-making products and also take out all the costs around it so that we really focus on that aspect. So that's one thing. The other thing is, as everybody talks about now, AI is everywhere. Everybody is trying to harness some value out of it. And it is not easy sitting in a life sciences industry to take advantage of AI, right? At least we want to understand internally how we can utilize that. Excuse me, I just need some water. So I think we were looking at both aspects of it, saying, hey, while cutting costs, what are the creative ways for us to take advantage of? So I think that the focus has been for us. I think a lot of companies are looking at like that. And I think later on I can go over a couple of examples, Chakri, on what we did and how we kind of, what actions we took to help us in this situation.
That's great. And I mean, specifically, if I wanted to dig a little deeper, what are the challenges companies are facing today in balancing the innovation and cost effectiveness? Because on one hand, your budgets are tight. At the same time, you're always constantly tasked with you need to do newer things and innovate things. So what are the companies are doing in balancing this innovation versus cost effectiveness?
Yeah, no, I think this comes down to, right, in every leader in any organization, it comes down to talent, resources, and time. I think our challenge and what we have done is, how do you take a sliver of their bandwidth, your key people's bandwidth, and focus on some ideas, and you can only do this while your business is supported well, right? At the end of the day, you have to help your business, run, and then take a sliver of the, team's bandwidth and focus on some innovative ideas, like try something, fail quickly, new ideas, things like that. So I think this is what we have done. So the way we have started about 6 quarters ago or something like that. So we put out 2 or 3 days in a quarter and we block them. I said, hey, these 2-3 days that we have are basically to go and think outside the box, come up with ideas, try something new, and see how quickly, we can market them or showcase them to the various people. So we've been doing that now. That has helped us a little bit to kind of not only energize the people, but also kind of come up with some good ideas that helps us to take to production rather quickly. Typically, it takes about, a quick project in IT world anywhere can take few weeks from few months, right? But ideas like that, we can pretty much within 2 days, we can show a working model. And based on the perception of that idea, we can quickly launch it into production. So that's something that we have tried effectively. And then there is 2 aspects of it. One is our internal knowledge and resources. And then we also need environments and systems or, skills. So we leverage our existing vendor partnerships for this. So that they can provide us their expertise as well as environments or sandboxes, whatever is necessary. So we kind of coordinate with our key vendors, and then we participate in this 2 to 3 day drills. That has yielded us surprisingly. I was a non-believer first, but I'm a very firm believer now that has really helped us. In fact, the latest attempt, we had over 60 participants from 8 different functions. Initially, it just started something only in my function. Now it's expanded to a lot bigger at the moment.
That's great. It's a great initiative. Just continuing on the same topic, just out of curiosity, probably it will help a lot of the companies as well. When you have such an innovation theme going on, and everyone comes to the table with different ideas. What do you guys use in terms of prioritizing them? Because everyone thinks that their idea is the best and that should be given the topmost priority. What do you suggest as some guiding principles that you guys have used, or what's your advice to the companies in prioritizing these digital transformation projects?
Yeah, I think we looked at, is that idea achievable within the 2 or 3 days? Can you build a prototype? Is it relevant to our industry, right? What is the feasibility of it? Can we test it without exposing any of our internal data? So these are the criteria we want to make sure that, we apply. And then we internally, we sit together, we have assembled a set of leaders to review the ideas, and we kind of approve those ideas. And then we announce them about an hour before the teams and who is going to go with ideas. And then they to races. And then we give them a time slot to come back, and we have about a 9-minute slot for them, 6 minutes for presentations and 3 minutes for Q&A, and they come back and present it. And that's how we've been running it. It's really, if you put people under this pressure, and not only that they thrive, but also they make new relations, new connections, and they are forced to work to identify what they're good at and how they can contribute. So it's really fun to see what happens, and then a little bit of competition, a little bit of innovation, outside the box thinking gets very creative. It's just amazing how it's been fun for them too. They really enjoy that.
Extending further, I'm just curious. Let's say somebody comes up with an idea and it gets blessed and all of that. Let's say if it is going to take after your initial 9 minutes and all, if it is going to take 2 to 3 months of dedicated time for them to go and build it, this is obviously over and above their current job. Do you guys generally give them as a time off and work on this idea, or do they have to do this while working on the current job? I mean, how do you balance that?
Yeah. So I think this is what we've done. So obviously we will, out of 10 ideas, let's say, we have 3 categories that we call out, whether it is engineering category or AI category, or, so we announce the winners, and then those winning ideas, we pursue, right? So at the end of the day, currently I'm in the process of coordinating those. So now we've nominated each person, one person to lead those ideas that won the awards or, recognition in this session. Now we're working with them. So we found a business sponsor to support this individual to take this idea to production. Hey, and we told them, hey, if this goes into production in the next 6 weeks, not only that, we want to work on, promoting this, and also kind of work on getting a spot bonus for them. So we want to reward them with some, not just a recognition, but also some kind of a real monetary award at the end of this, and really take this idea to production. I think that's when the true benefit comes in. Otherwise, it'd be left as, a fun exercise or engineering exercise, right? Or, so I think that's what we're doing now. So out of those 10 ideas, I think there are about 4 of them that I'm pursuing. I'm a sponsor of 3 of them at the moment, and we're trying to work how to get to production those ideas.
Oh, great. So on the funding for these initiatives, this is where I think most of the organizations which I talk to always we have ideas, but there is no funding. And when there is funding, how effectively you can optimize the cost. I know you mentioned and you touched upon utilizing the vendors to, through some sandbox instances, so on and so forth. Over and above that, just wanted to understand where does the funding comes from this internally, or is it a budget separately allocated for this? How does this whole mechanism work?
Yeah, so for us, it is sponsored by both the CTO and CIO office. So that's how we typically, I support it for my budget. It's not a whole lot of money, just to get organize it and buy some gifts so that we, there's things like that, whether it is a t-shirt or a memento, or, get them have a fun evening, things like that. So all those things I take care of, but I kind of, first of all, I do is now I have both our CIO and CTO being key sponsors, and they assemble about 3 or 4 other VPs, and this is the judging panel I set up. So they do get a nice recognition out of this and visibility out of this. And I have my product team, I have my internal engineering teams, I have my, we have a couple of engineering teams within CTO and CIO organization. All of them participate in this now. So it's kind of, it evolved into a much better thing, at the moment. So that's kind of how we did it. And beyond that, I will say, like, for example, AWS and Salesforce are 2 vendors that provide us not only expertise, they also line up some experts for us to talk to during those 2 days, but also provide, resources in the infrastructure side to help us to try these things out as well. So that's what we have done. We have very tight relationship with these vendors, and they're really very eager, actually. If you explore with them and if you have a good relationship with them, there is a lot of things you can get. They're also very eager to engage and help you guys. I think I would highly encourage people to try this out.
Okay, great. And I know, so whenever we are talking about this funding of these projects, there is always do more with less, so on and so forth. Just if you can share one example where you have funded the innovation project, at the same time saving costs, and what are the strategies that you guys have deployed in saving costs without compromising the quality?
Yeah, I think this is I think there are a couple of things I can talk about. Let me just interest of time take one example here. So we are in we get a lot of documentation with every blood collection kit. It could be, the ordering forms, insurance forms, various reports, various things. It's a huge set of documents that come together. And then in order to understand, there's a lot of pertinent and PHA information across them. In order to understand that, you have to download these forms and you have to read through and figure out exactly, it will be a 20-page, 30-page PDF that you have to go figure out where it sits. So what we did is we worked on something called document classifier. So we used both text-track solution from Amazon and an LLM model to detect and split these documents into various types. So we really associated, this is ordering document, this is insurance document, this is, a report, a patient report or whatnot, right? So we created this nice view for them so they can easily look at what they want, what they're trying to find out. And sometimes you have to attach these forms to file claims, file, various appeals, all these things that you require. So we kind of helped them. Otherwise, it was a painstaking process for them to figure out on how to do all these things manually. So we did that, as probably year and a half ago. I think it was one of the highly appreciated hackathon project for us. And then we took it, and then about 3 months later, we put this in production for a particular use case. But after that, it became very successful that a lot of functions can benefit from it. Not just our use case was, short-sighted when we did the hackathon, but eventually there's so many other things opened up for this particular idea. And then we are working on further refining this, So since you're in patient care, the accuracy is very important, right? 90% sometimes is not good enough, right? So you want to make sure we always put a manual check. We don't automate completely 100%. We always have a check. We'll eliminate as many manual steps, but we really want human to, before it goes out, right? We want a human to check it. So that's kind of how we operate. And that saved us, literally thousands of hours for us internally for, supporting teams. that's one idea that kind of, and now there are about 3 or 4 ideas that we're working on how to take to production.
Yeah, thanks a lot for that, Ravi. And going forward and looking ahead into the future, what emerging technologies do you believe will have the most significant impact on your industry in the next 3 to 5 years time frame? And yeah, you can generalize or you can specifically stick to your particular industry.
Yeah,
I know you said AI probably is not the relevant thing in your industry. I understand that, but in general.
It's kind of, that's how it starts, but every conversation we have internally is, what are you doing now, and where can we hire less people? What can AI do for us? Right? So we also have, I say that, I don't think we can escape from it. Basically, it'll be a little bit harder for us to do, but I don't think we have a choice here. We acquired I think we invested or acquired in company that we are trying, which is in AI, cancer detection and by imaging technologies. And we want to incorporate that into one of our products, which we have done about last year. So it's into, not only that, it's part of our product. So internally now, I think we're looking at ways to automate. Where can we do all these things? There are 2 things we can do internally. What can you leverage is one challenge for us. But also, for example, when it comes to Salesforce or AWS or relationships that we have, they have a ton of research and resources available for us, right? We already use their platforms. And how can you turn on those features? For example, one of the simplest thing is, right now Salesforce has ability to create case summaries, right? Mm-hmm. To create documentation. The engine that they have built has the ability to create, all this documentation for various ways of handling patient situations, right? Otherwise, it's a tribal knowledge within our client's services organization, but we create these unique, case summaries and make them available as in a knowledge center that allows other people to leverage all this stuff, right? So things like that are opportunities for us, even though, that's one thing. The other thing is, I believe, we have, we will evolve. I think AA is here to stay. We have to acknowledge that, and we have to adapt to what it can do for us, right? So I think for me, that's how I look at it. That's going to be something in the next 3 to 5 years is a huge, huge thing for us. And the other thing that, we talk about is internally, may not be in looking in a future-oriented way, but more looking at, every IT organization has some kind of a technical debt in the background, right? So that is something that you have to focus on each year. Really, take a conscious effort and say, this year I'm going to address this particular technical debt, because what it does is it eventually catches up to you, right? So really, I would say that's how you would manage the risk of your technology, the profile that you have to maintain, right? I think for me, think about it that way. And then when you lace it out with security and compliance, it's kind of between, you have to really balance these things, right? When you look at it, ensure that security and compliance and auditing capabilities are within where they need to be, while you help out and take advantage of the new trends that are going on, both internally and leveraging your vendor's strengths is kind of how we try to balance it out in our case. But I think, and the one other thing that I would highly recommend is, we have a what we call a governance committee, which is basically we surface almost every quarter with the business value and the cost of that particular effort for prioritization, right? So what this does is, for us, I would ask you guys to think about have a process like that, so that there's always not enough money in IT. So you have to figure out a way to focus on the right things that helps the company, right? So I would have what kind of process that works with your company's culture, that allows them to own the decisions and focus on, where you can contribute to revenue or profitability, and have that process. I mean, obviously you won't get it right the first quarter. Once you do it for 2-3 quarters, then your leaders and sponsors, business owners, however you interact with them, will align to a process, and they will come back and say, no, focus on this, not on this. This can wait, or this can go faster, right? That's one thing that worked for us well. And the other last thing I want to, which we had got a lot of success, was we always big on rolling out a pilot approach to a certain section of the business, a certain teams within that function. So we test these ideas in real time and learn from it, and then deploy it widely. So that has allowed us to kind of the change management to evolve more organically and more in accepted way, because nobody gives you requirements 100%. So unless you know what people tell you, what our technology people translate, and what we test and deploy is at best 60-70%. If you get 60-70% of what you ask, I think you're in a good shape. And the rest of it, you have to have a very nice way of bridging it through pilot, through focused testing and trying out, right? Believe me, and be ready. Some ideas will fall flat, so you have to find a way to throw those ideas out and just move on again, right? Not everything you take on will be successful, right? So I think this is kind of, I think if you have a process to manage your priorities and kind of look at your various disciplines under security, compliance, or external auditing, all those things in place, and then I think then you should be able to focus your available bandwidth in your resources on really strategic initiatives. So that's kind of how I would look at it. If you do that, you'll have the opportunity to work on exciting technologies that are coming out all the time, right? So that's how that's how we have been operating, and it yielded us a lot of value for us. I think each company has to figure out based on how they operate, where they operate, and what kind of support they have, right? So it's that will be how I look at it, how the future will converge.
Great. Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned the technical debt, and this is one of the topic as I'm talking to a lot of the other companies. People are going for all of these SaaS products for functionality X. You pick a product like Salesforce, then you product Y, so on and so forth. Over a period of time, two major things which are popping up. You are paying for the product, but you're not using all the functionality that it has to offer. And over a period of time, they overlap. What are the functionality that you're looking for in one particular product is now also available in another product. So that's when you're paying for the same functionality at two places. How do you guys, have you guys come across these things when you talk about this technical debt and trying to consolidate? Are there any tools that you guys are using, or is it a pretty early stage at this point in time, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think this is a good question, Chakri. There are two things that you're bringing up. One is, over a period of time, you evolve your application configuration, right? You continually adjust it for business need, right? Whether it is ticketing system, whether it is a, case management system, let's say, for example, right? Over a period of time, it becomes clunky, because you might have started your business with one product. Now you have 5 products with different workflows. Each one works differently. So we rarely get time to say, I want to re-implement my entire case management side, right? So that's exactly. You're shutting down everything. You're just 6 months, you're working on a project, and then the requirements are constantly evolving. So I think for us, it is a challenge because for us, one of the products, our flagship products, which is now almost profitable, is works certain way, and then in order to compete with our other offerings, so we have to introduce 4 new products. I think we have overall 5 products now. So each one is a separate workflow. So now, not only that, this gets pretty tricky, cumbersome, but also the dashboards that we create. For example, you're looking at case resolution times, you're looking at your turnaround times. All those metrics and calculations are different too, because you constantly want to measure your performance against what is happening, right? So that is one thing. So unless and meanwhile, Salesforce, for example, is coming out all these 10, 15 new features that
Yes.
you want to take advantage of, right? So what we have done is we have very active dialogue with our people. So for example, I take a lot of my business users, key users, as well as some of the functional owners in the business to Dreamforce, for example. One of the things we do is we collectively look at other customers and education. So we take them and saying, hey, digital transformation is just not, IT driving it. Unless, a business key leaders embrace that and see the value. So I think we take them, we want them to talk to other customers and see how they took advantage. And many times, you have seen, IT advice will not get you anywhere, right? Many times a consulting advice or them meeting other customers and seeing how they've used it yields you a lot more value, right? And so I take anybody and everybody who's willing to come to Dreamforce and have them engage, and we do product roadmaps reviews, and then we also meet potential customers and get them excited about what this platform can offer, right? So that's kind of how we've done that so far. We haven't had a chance to go do a re-implementation yet. We've managed it through those conversations and how to take advantage of new features, right? It's very not easy, but that's how we are trying it internally. Right? I think that's the one thing. I think the other aspect I'm trying to forget now, which I wanted to cover as well. Let me see. The question you had was, why don't you remind me, Chakri? The question is
Any tools and frameworks that you guys are using in terms of looking at the, better word is application portfolio rationalization.
Got it. Yeah, thank you. It helps me. So I think wherever there is overlap of solution capabilities, right? For example, Slack versus Teams versus Zoom versus, Teams, right? And things like that are overlapping capabilities, and all of them are costing. Some give us for free, some function, right? So we are doing this tool rationalization, right, internally to figure out, what is it does cause some employee collaboration disruption, right? But eventually you have to do this because, you have to make the choices and to figure out what, stack you're going to be formalizing on, and what is what does the engineering function needs and what a sales function needs, right? It's not the same thing. So we're trying to come up with a engineering profile and a generic profile, and the tool set that they need. We're trying to, reduce overlapping tools for that collaboration, right? That's the approach we are taking, so that we can eliminate some of the overlapping tool capabilities. So I think so far we have turned off certain tools to certain functions. And that's we just started the journey, all under the name of, cost optimization. So I think, I'll tell you, I have my favorite technologies, which I rarely fight not to give up. But it's pretty interesting on, some of I would really encourage them to look at and reevaluate even the products that are older, and give them a chance. You'll be surprised sometimes on how quickly they've come along, and it takes to do. So I've gone through that, and I've learned something new, and I'm become an advocate, which I never thought I would be an advocate. So that's how we are internally handling it. I think obviously, biggest thing is, lead by example. If you try and you show it to your team that you're willing to change and try, that really kind of pans out well for your teams as well. So that's what I would say.
Hang on, Ravi. Even in my interaction with a lot of other customers, in the absence of additional funding, one of the easiest way they are doing is trying to basically do this entire application and tool rationalization, putting everything on the table, put a person behind that and drive eliminating them. You have more success on internal applications than the external applications. If somebody is using a ticketing tool for Zoom and somebody else is doing something else, Zendesk versus Salesforce is a lot more easier internally. But the moment it is external customer facing, there is a lot of pushback. But this is one strategy which a lot of people are using. Thank you that you also are also on the same page.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Ravi, thanks a lot for your time and very, very valuable inputs. And we do have some questions which we'll take offline, and I will shoot them to you. And if you can respond to them, that'll be great.
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot for your time.
Thanks for having me, Chakri. And this is